Welcome back, it's Firoz from decentralizedchain.com. If this is the first time you're here and you want to learn more about crypto, whether it's news, insights, or analysis to help you get that edge, start now by hitting the subscribe button below and the bell notification icon so you don't miss any of my upcoming episodes. Better still, come and join us over in the Telegram community. Plenty of alpha, plenty of tips and trips in crypto, and just a general friendly bunch from all around the world to kind of help you get started and, navigate this space, because we can all do with a helping hand. Now, in today's episode, we are going to be talking about a number of projects. First of all, we're going to kick off with World Token. But before we do, let's just have a look at the market, because you must be thinking, the market is down. Is there any point in looking at any projects at this time? And this, where I feel, is very key. The market is down. Sometimes it's the best time to be looking at projects that you've been eyeing up for a while, that maybe you've been thinking, oh, the token price is a bit too high for me to want to get into or want to invest into. So let's have a look at World Token, because with World Token, and check out the card above, I covered these guys a little while back, and really they are a marketplace. They also have NFT support built in. They've also got staking, frictionless yield protocols built into that as well. And I'll talk about that a bit later just to give you a recap. But World Token have been very busy building away, as they will be doing. Their mainnet is around the corner. And before we do, let's do a quick recap. The idea behind World Token is that it's a marketplace. It also has support for NFTs. On top of that, you're able to earn passive income, and the way you do that is really through the ecosystem. As transactions happen, percentages of that go back to you as a holder. Also, as a merchant, you get a percentage of that. Percentage gets burnt, so it kind of feeds into the whole price appreciation. So really, all of these things are a one-stop shop from a marketplace perspective. They've got some great partnerships as well lined up. So if we dig a bit deeper into these guys, you'll kind of see where they're heading in that direction. But as I mentioned before, they have a number of key updates. One of the ones that I kind of want to draw your attention to is the NFT drop. So they're doing an NFT drop to all their token holders. You need to have a certain number of tokens in order to be able to eligible for these NFTs that are being created. Now, these NFTs are a one-off, so they're a limited supply. But the idea behind it is that if you fall into each of these tiers and you happen to get an NFT for each of these tiers, so 3 NFTs in total, then that actually opens up a world of opportunities for you as a platform. So you kind of get the exclusive perks behind it. You get to be able to participate in future NFT drops. You get item giveaways. There's lots of things around that. Whitelist for World Token promotions. And then on top of that, you kind of obviously get VIP access. This is the whole kind of element around NFTs that gives you that exclusivity. And really, I kind of see, whilst they're doing this here, I can also see a lot of other projects that will also follow suit, because NFTs do provide you that way of locking in users into the ecosystem, providing that extra value add, which you get beyond just being a token holder. Also, the other way you need to look at it is that these NFTs will have value. If you have all 3, then those NFTs that you're holding have significant value as well. So kind of bear that in mind when you come look at these things. Now, the other thing that I also want to draw your attention to is that the version 1 testnet release, there are a number of updates that have come up, so definitely worth checking out the release notes. So this is really key for me, because this is where they're making improvements, they're fixing bugs that have been raised before previously, all pretty much towards mainnet launch. So you're kind of ironing out all these bugs first time round, or as much as you can as possible. You're never going to catch all of them. That's just the way development works, but you're going to get rid of a significant amount in order to kind of help drive user adoption and stickiness in the platform. Definitely worth checking this out. In fact, if you kind of compare the screen that I'm scrolling through now in comparison to the one in my previous video, you'll see they've already made a number of updates as it is. We've also already got the Web3 wallet connection here. You've got an NFTs where you can actually purchase, buying, or using World Token as well on top of that. Now, let's talk a bit about regulation, right? As much as people don't want crypto to be regulated, in all honesty, you're going to need it to be regulated if you want it to be adopted by the masses, if you want to drive it further mainstream, and if you want more money flowing in as well as institutions. This is important, and I'm in favor of regulation. I'm in favor of compliance, and one of the reasons being is that there are so many scams, so many rug pulls in this space. People need some kind of protection when it comes to investing their hard-earned money. Yep, there might be people from 2017 that have plenty of bags of crypto that they've built up that they can afford to lose, but there are also there's always new money coming in every year, right? And there's also a learning curve around that, and people who tend to get scammed first time round or lose a lot of money, they kind of turn away from crypto. And so therefore we need compliance within this space. And so one of the projects that launched a couple of weeks ago is Sekuritance. Now, yes, we've got the initial launch dump, as we see with most projects. Then we had another pullback, which is obviously BTC crash that we had last week, which has kind of dragged up the whole entire market with it. But slowly now we are seeing resurgence in the price. But talking about Sekuritance, just to kind of give you a bit of a background, they are a regulatory technology platform. The idea is that they provide a number of solutions, from compliance to regulation to IDM for identity management to transaction monitoring. You need all of these types of solutions in place from a CeFi perspective and from a decentralized finance perspective, and certainly for institutions to see whether projects are viable. So from my perspective, projects like these will have a strong focus going forward as crypto grows and becomes more mainstream. And on top of that, if you do fancy bagging yourself $500 worth of Sekuritance tokens, then DeFi Boost are doing a great giveaway here. All you need to do is retweet, follow Sekuritance, make sure you're following DeFi Boost as well, so they can message you and you're in with a chance of winning $500 worth of tokens. And let's be honest, regulation is going to grow, and projects like these are the ones that are also going to appreciate, that are actually fixing that use case for regulation. So certainly one worth checking out. Now, next up, we have our two dexes that I kind of want to cover over. We've got Kwikswap, recently launched on Uniswap, recently being today. And yes, we're kind of seeing the usual dump, but it does seem to feel like that there is some sort of price floor being hit right now. But ignore this. This is just temporary, and this is very early days. So we do need to give it a few days to kind of see exactly where some of the price floors are to give you a decent entry. But let's talk a bit more about Kwikswap. So those who aren't familiar with Kwikswap, I'm sure you are familiar with Uniswap. And so when we look at Uniswap, the idea behind it is, developers, similar to Uniswap, developers are able to, build on its APIs, create, dApps with UIs attached to them using their source code. And really, the whole point of Kwikswap is that it allows creations of token markets. It's obviously got the Web 3.0 wallet connectivity, no requirement for KYC, considering we were talking about regulatory compliance a second ago. And that's completely fine because it caters for that type of individual. Now, the idea behind here also is that, it is going to be a one-stop shop. It's going to be a one-stop shop because they're also going to have a launchpad associated with it. So startups and traders, have everything they need in order to pretty much provide cross-chain liquidity across all the ecosystems, which is really key, right? So here you've got Plasm, you've got Reef, you've got Akala Network, Binance Smart Chain. Yes, they're launching initially on Ethereum, but this is kind of where they're branching out to. And this is going to be key. I think once we start moving more towards this whole cross-chain space, you're going to want to be able to have these types of dexes where you can easily swap between chain rather than having to use bridges to move from one to the other. Certainly one worth keeping your eye on. The other one that I'm also keeping my eye on right now is also UniDex. So UniDex, if we kind of zoom out, came out towards the back end of last year, and these guys have slowly been just moving up in price. Yeah, we've kind of got the peaks, but ultimately they are, when you kind of look at it long term, moving up in price. Now, UniDex is very similar as well, but they're basically a cross-chain platform. And really here, the cool thing that I really want to draw your attention to more than anything else is the aggregation part behind it. Because one of the interesting parts here is, and you can see it in the Twitter post here from their video that they've uploaded recently, is that you can actually set aggregated limit orders cross-chain on Matic. So they've got support for Kwikswap, they've got SushiSwap, Polyzap, and obviously there's more as well, which you just need to go in and have a look at. But this is key because here you're able to set limit orders across multiple dexes here, basically. And this is really important because the whole point behind that is that then it frees up time. You don't need to go to one place after another. You don't have to incur multiple cost transaction fees. You don't have to then ultimately interact with multiple contracts on a one-to-one basis. You get the aggregated limit order in place, and boom, once your price targets hit, you get everything that you want all from one place. So for me, projects like this are really key and ones that you generally want to watch out for. Now, that pretty much draws close to this episode. So if you certainly enjoyed the content below, definitely try dropping a like, certainly subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about these projects. Where do you think they're going? Do you think they have legs, or do you just think they're duds? I'd love to hear your thought on the process overall. And I will see you on the next episode.